Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Viktor Shklovsky's essay, Art as a Technique. The word formalism itself describes that the theory is based primarily on the form. And Russian formalism originated in 1920s, and the most important leading representative of Russian formalism are Boris Eshbaum, Roman Jakobson, Viktor Shklovsky and Boris Tomsky. And it is mainly represented by the Moscow Linguistic Circle, which was founded in 1915, and UPJAYA'S in St. Petersburg, which was founded in 1916 and which stood for the Society for the Study of Poetic Language. In this essay, Art as a Technique, Viktor has divided into two parts, and in the first part he explains the concept of defamiliarization. Defamiliarization is something which you know very well, but you will forget or you will just erase from your mind that you know about it, and you will start learning about it as though you are hearing it or feeling it for the first time. And in the second part, he elaborates on poetic language, and he also says how this poetic language is different from ordinary language because it is defamiliarized. And this term, Art as a Technique, is actually a seminal work by Viktor in Russian formalism, and it is about the function of art and poetic language in literature. Here he attacks Russian symbolism by analyzing the statement of Russian symbolist Alexander Potvey, who says that art means to think in images. Now Viktor argues that art forms like music and architecture do not have images. And he also goes to the extent of saying that art is rather a technique that helps us to recover the sensation of life. And he says perception. Perception means the way we feel it becomes habitual in life, which only leads us to lead a very automatic and mechanical life. And he says that human beings have developed one algebraization, which is explained as automation of perception. Now suppose in case you hear a word or when you see something, you will already start feeling towards it because you have an idea about what it is. So he says this habitualization takes all our work, our clothes, our furniture, one's wife and the fear of war. Because we already have an idea about how our clothes must be, how our work must be, how our furniture in the house must be, and even the fear of war, he says the word war itself will create a fear in you because you have an idea about war. But you have not had any situation where you would have gone for a war and fought in it, or you won't be very close with anyone who has fought in a war. But the word war itself in your mind will create an fear or a feeling because you are made to feel familiar with that word. But suppose in case you don't know what is war or what will happen in a war, you will learn it or you will start feeling it from your own way. And that is what he says, or in fact argues, creates economy of perceptive effect. And the theory of defamiliarization, this is the term coined by him in this essay, Art as a Technique. He says art is to make objects unfamiliar and make the forms difficult so that it will be difficult for you to perceive what it is. And he argues that familiar objects are not significant, and art actually removes the objects from the automation of perception so that one has to spend more time to understand them. That is, each one will understand a particular term in their own way and approach it. For this, as an example, he takes two of Leo Tolstoy's novels, Shame and Cholesterol. In Shame, he says the word flogging is not directly used by Tolstoy, but he keeps explaining, and as the readers read it, finally they come to know that actually Tolstoy is talking about flogging. And in Cold Stormer also, the narrator keeps on telling you the story, but later on the readers realize that the narrator is seeing everything what is shown in front of him and is not able to view what is in his side. And later on they realize that the narrator is a horse, and since the horse is stopped from looking in the sideways and can only see what is in front of it, the narrator is telling only what it can see in the front and not in the sides. So even the narrator is not told directly to the readers, but as the readers read the novel, they come to know that the narrator is a horse. And this is one technique of Leo Tolstoy, where he uses this defamiliarization technique to introduce certain terms. And in the second part of the essay, Victor talks about how poetic language is a defamiliarized language. And he says the language of poetry and the practical language have different functions. And he says that practical language is used for communication purpose. I want to tell what I feel, and that should be said in such a way that the person who is receiving will be able to understand what is my concept. And he says that poetry's objective is to defamiliarize and lengthen the time and effort in perception. And he also says that poetic language is roughened and difficult, and it removes automation of perception. And he says that poetry language deviates from syntax and phonetic structures. For this, he gives the example of the poets writing the spelling of sun as S-U-N-N-E and fry as F-Y-R-E. And he also says that the physical sound of words, when used in everyday language, is defamiliarized and becomes prominent. And he says that this formal prominence is the basis of poetry. He also anticipates a futurist concept of transcends language, where he says that language contains in itself a sense of unintelligibility. And Victor categorizes folklore, nursery rhymes, and religious rituals in the group of transcends language, for he argues that in these kinds of work, sound is more important than sense. He also offers examples of defamiliarization in poetic language. And he says from the days of Boccaccio to the modern poets, sexuality and love are defamiliarized in poetry. He also says that defamiliarization is also used in the study of fiction. For in fiction, the story and the plot are different. While the story is a linear progression of events, a plot may unfold in any manner as the author wants it to give you. And he gives the example of Tristram Shandy, a novel in which the narrative does not give any story of Tristram. And Shklovsky concludes the essay with an argument that sentiments cannot be the mainstay of art. Art is trans-emotional and unsympathetic, and even reminds that even emotions in the work of art are the products of a different point of view, and in this, the point of view also becomes a technique. This is what he says in this essay. If you have anything more to add on to what I have said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.